My name is Aaron Shore, and I'm 27 now. I grew up in Baltimore City, went to Mount Clair Christian School, and I had a lot of good people in my life then, and good friends. Okay. So after high school, I joined the Navy. I got kicked out of the Navy. I got early medical separations from the Navy, and that was kind of a good thing because not too long after I came home that December, the very next month my sister passed away, so I was home for that. And that was a rough time for everybody involved. And that's when I started, not because of my sister passing, it's not why I started using drugs, but soon after she passed, I started experimenting with drugs because I wanted to, because I'd never done it. I felt like I was a very sheltered person, and this is something that I wanted to try because I thought it was cool at the time. I started just smoking marijuana, and then my family and I moved from Maryland to Pennsylvania, and I got a job in Pennsylvania, and I started selling drugs because there was so much money in Pennsylvania, and I thought, why not? So I started selling drugs. I was still using drugs, and then I started using other drugs just besides marijuana. I would take pills, and I would do cocaine, and I just like to get trashed. That's what I wanted to do every day. So I stopped working just to sell drugs all the time, and I would sleep all day and then be out all night partying and selling drugs. I was really, really skinny. I weighed probably 110 pounds. I was very stupid, but every decision I made was dumb. I never had a good conscious thought about anything. I just did it because it was my moment. Like, I was like, okay, why not do it? This went on for like 7 years. I was in and out of the county jail numerous times. When I got out, I didn't go see probation. I just started getting high again, started selling drugs. I kept moving from place to place. My family didn't like who I was. I mean, at all. Like, my dad didn't want me at the house. He didn't want me to come around the house. My mom had to sneak just to see me or call me so that my dad didn't get mad at her. My brothers didn't like who I'd become because I would wrong anybody for myself. I would take from them. I would lie to them. I would cheat them any way I could. Anybody. It didn't matter who it was. I was so against God. Like, God was the furthest thing from my mind this whole entire time. Like, I'd always known who he was, and I believed in God, but I didn't practice anything with God at all. I didn't pray. I didn't read the Bible. I didn't do anything. I just got high every day. I didn't like who I was. I enjoyed what I was doing, and I wanted to do it. I don't know if that makes sense. I spent a lot of time in reflection while I was in the county jail, just thinking about everything I had done. And then I got to prison, and honestly, it was April, and it was a friend of mine's birthday. Our relationship was my fault because I was always selling drugs and running around and doing what I wanted to do, that I blew her off lots of times and didn't spend time with her, and it's my fault that I was in prison because I chose to sell drugs, so I got locked up. And that's when I decided, like, I'd missed out on enough. I was done. So many people I love didn't love me. I'm not going to say they didn't love me, but they didn't respect me. I didn't respect myself. It was wasteful. Everything I did was a waste. The family I gave up, the relationships I gave up, the friendships I gave up, and it was way too overwhelming. I got so mad. I locked myself in my cell. I was beating myself up in the cell constantly. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to go eat, nothing. I just stayed in there. And then my cellie, he talked to me, and he was actually like a very religious person, and he started talking to me about God, and he showed me some of these Bible verses, and then he went out to the yard, and that's when I decided that I couldn't do it anymore. Me by myself, I couldn't handle any of it. So I got down on my knees and I prayed to God for the first time in, I don't know, forever. And I cried and I cried and I cried, and I just prayed and prayed and prayed. And from that point on, I started reading my Bible every day, memorizing as many Bible verses as I could, just trying to fill myself with better thoughts than the trash that I had in my head. And I started going to the church there. But then I left Camp Hill and I went to a different prison where the boot camp is, called Quahana, and their church is awesome. And the pastor there, Pastor Dixon, is an amazing person. He prayed for me a whole lot, and I got to tell him things that have happened in my life. I never dealt with the grief of losing Brittany. I never dealt with the grief of any of it. I just put it all aside. He helped me to go through the grieving process, and he helped show me ways to get through it and to get past the anger and the sorrow and despair and depression, and to get to the acceptance part of it. And that's when my heart really opened to God. When I finally was able to come to terms with everything, then I was able to really give it all to God and not hold it on myself anymore. And the whole time that I was in prison, I had Jermaine there. He would write me letters, and he would encourage me. He would give me Bible verses. He sent me lyrics to songs. He was always telling me how much he was praying for me, and he was always an encouragement, always. And he helped me a lot through everything. And then when I get to talk to him on the phone, we had great phone conversations, and he encouraged me more and more and more, and he never stopped believing in the person that I could be, or the person that he saw me to be or wanted me to be, and the person that I'm being now. I have a very personal relationship with God. Like, I still cry when I talk to him sometimes, and I feel like he's always there. When I feel down, I don't know, if I get sad, I'll sit here, I'll pray, and then good memories come back of my dad or whoever I was praying for, whatever I was feeling bad about, and the good memories come, and I feel lifted and lighthearted and not bad anymore. And he's given me the strength to go to numerous people and tell them how sorry I was, because I never would have done that. Not because I wasn't sorry, but because I just wasn't strong enough to want to admit all the mistakes and all the wrong that I've done. But with God, he makes it easy. He makes it all easy. He makes it easy for me to say I'm sorry. And I don't want to be dishonest or deceitful or sneaky or any of that. God has helped me to set myself straight, to keep myself accountable, and Jermaine helps keep me accountable. He messages me every day. Since I've been out, he messages me or calls me every single day. And I'm glad that our friendship, that's one friendship that was never gone. Even though I was not a very good friend for a while, I ignored him and I didn't really talk to him, he still reached out to me, and he still loved me, and he's always prayed for me. He's one of my biggest supporters, like my brother Brian, who supports me a lot and loves me and believes in me and sees the person that I want to be. And it's good to have those people. My immediate goals are to get a job, to start saving money so I can get my own place, start saving money so I can get a car, and long term, I don't know, I want to do something that involves serving God. That's what I pray for every day. Give it to God. If you hold on to it yourself, it's just going to destroy you in the long run. It might not seem like a lot now, but the more you hold on to it, the bigger it gets, and then you make rash decisions. You don't think straight. You might start experimenting with drugs because you think that's a release, but it's not. It's just another quick fix. But getting it out helps more than you can imagine. So if you have a good friend or a good person or a good youth leader that you trust, and you should definitely talk to them. If you don't want to talk to anybody about it, get a journal and just write it down, because even that helped me a lot. I keep a journal now. I've kept the journal for the last year, and when my notebook's full, I get another notebook and I just keep writing. If I don't, and then I'll pray about things that I write. Like what I write, I'll pray. I like to pick a verse and write it down and talk about what that verse means to me, and then pray over myself. And I'm so thankful for Brian Liz and then letting me come here, because I needed to change people in my life, places in my life. I just wanted to eliminate any chance of me going back to selling drugs or using drugs or anything. I feel like I have it beat, but I want to make sure I have it beat, and I don't want to be around it. I don't want it in my face all the time. I've never felt as strong and confident as I do now. And I know that's God. I know it's because of God. And I thank Him for all of it.
Check it. Listen.